Hello all, welcome to part 14 of JavaScript for Beginners series. In this session, I am going to explain and practically demonstrate different looping statements in JavaScript. So let's get started. First of all, what exactly are these looping or iterative statements? Looping or iterative statements in JavaScript or in any other programming languages like Java, etc. are same guys. Okay. The purpose of the looping or iterative statements in any of these programming languages is same. The purpose is to execute the same block of code multiple times. If you want to execute the same block of code or same set of block of code multiple times repeatedly, then we have to go for the looping statements or iterative statements, we can call them. What are the different looping statements or iterative statements that are available in JavaScript? So here is the list guys. Looping statements or iterative statements fall under the control flow statements because they alter or change the general flow of execution like sequential flow, right? So because of these looping statements, the set of or block of code will be executed multiple times. The flow will be altered a bit. So what are the different looping statements we have in JavaScript? We have while loop, do while loop, for in loop, for off loop. In this session, I am going to demonstrate while loop, do while loop, and general for loop. But coming to the for in loop and for off loop, I have to demonstrate with objects and arrays in the coming sessions. Okay, after I cover the concepts of arrays and objects in the coming sessions, I'll be covering this for in and for off loop. But for now, in this session, as part of the looping statements in JavaScript, I'll be practically demonstrating the while loop, do while loop, and for loop guys. Okay, so let's get started with the while loop. So I'll open this Visual Studio Code editor guys. Let's switch to the practical mode. Here I'll be creating a JavaScript file, say demo.js, a sample JavaScript file got created now. Now, let's say if I write a statement like this, console.log off, okay, console.log off. In this, I'll type my name, guys. I'll just type my name, say Arun Moturi. And if I run this code, okay, if I run this simple code, it will simply print out Arun Moturi in the output, right? This particular line of code, if I run this, it will simply print out Arun Motor in the output. Let me run out guys. First of all, I'll clear this and run this. I'll simply say node space demo.js. You see Arun Moturi got printed in the output. That's fine. Only one time. But I want to repeatedly run this same set of code multiple times. Okay. If you have to run that guys, I have to surround this console.log with something known as while loop. Okay. I'll just provide a while loop here. This is a syntax guys. Okay, inside the while loop this statement need to be there. Okay, inside this while loop this console.log statement should be there because I want to execute the same statement multiple times. Okay, let's say I want to print my name Arun Motori 10 times. Okay, so what I have to do, I have to surround this statement with while loop and I have to write a logic which will print this particular or which will execute the same statement multiple times. Okay, so here guys, before this while loop, okay, before this while loop, just go before the while loop guys, just press enter here. Here I'll create a variable guys, say where I is equal to, okay, where I is equal to 1 I will say. Okay, I'm initializing this variable name I with 1. Now I want to execute this same statement how many times? Let's say 10 times. For that I have to write a condition here, while I is less than or equal to 10. Okay, till the I is less than or equal to 10, you have to repeat this loop. Now guys, if I run this code as it is, it will get us into an infinite loop. Why? You see here I is 1 guys. Okay, here I is 1, so 1 is less than or equal to 10. Condition is true or false? The condition is true. While condition is true, if this condition is true, we'll go inside the while loop and this statement will be executed for the first time. That is Arun Motor will be printed in the output for the first time. After that, again this condition will be checked guys. Okay, after this again the condition will be checked for the second time, but I value is still 1 only. Okay, we have not modified the value of I anywhere. Still I value is 1 again. So 1 less than or equal to 10, again true, again the statement will be executed, again the condition will be checked. Okay, this loop will be iterated until this condition is false, guys. Okay, this while loop will repeat itself until this particular condition becomes false. Is there any chance where this condition is becoming false now? Initially I is equal to 1, 1 is less than or equal to 10, true. We went inside and Arun Motri got printed. Again the condition will be checked. Again the I is 1 itself, right? We have not modified the value of 1. I, that is still 1. 1 less than or equal to 10 is again true. Again, okay, again condition will be checked. Again the condition will become true because I is still 1. So there is no way that I value will change, and this while loop will iterate infinite times, and this Arun motor will be printed infinite times. Okay, it will not stop printing, guys. Okay, let me run this code. We'll see that in action. Node demo.js. You see it's keeping on printing, guys. Okay, it's keeping on printing. Okay, so I'll simply say control C or something so that it will stop the execution. I forcibly stop the execution, guys, otherwise it will not stop. But how to overcome this problem? Okay, initialization is fine, guys. We have to initialize a variable I with 1, that's okay, and condition is fine, but we are not changing the value of I so that this while loop will stop somewhere. Okay, so here what I will do is I will simply say I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, every time the while loop is getting iterated, I am changing the value of I by 1, guys. So initially I is equal to 1, guys. 1 less than or equal to 10 is true. If the condition is true, we'll go inside the while loop and Arun motor will be printed in the output. After that, we are changing the value of I by 1. If here I is 1, guys, initially I is 1, here I am changing the value of I by incrementing it by 1. So I will become 2 here. Okay, after this statement I will become 1 plus 1, I will become 2. Okay, here I will become 2. When I became 2, again at the end of this current while loop iteration, again the condition will be checked. So 2 is less than or equal to 10. Again true. We'll go inside. Again Arun motor will be printed. Now I will become 3. Like that we are keeping on incrementing the value of I by 1 for every iteration. So for the third time also it will be printing, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, seventh time. Okay, when I become 7 also it will, the condition will be passed. Okay, true. Then 8, 9. Finally when I become 10, okay, for the 10th time also this condition will be true because 10 is equal to 10. Okay, and Arun Motri will be printed for the 10th time. But after the Arun Motri got printed for the 10th time, now I will become 11, guys. I plus 1 means I will become 11, and here 11 is less than or equal to 10 is false. Then we'll come out of the while loop, guys. Okay, then we'll come out of the while loop. By the time we are coming out of the while loop, already Arun Motori got printed 10 times. Okay, let's run this code, guys. Let's run this code. So let the path for this demo.js file appear here. Now let's type the command demo node demo.js. Run this. You see Arun Motori got printed 10 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is how the looping statements work, guys. Okay, they execute the same set of code. You see here the same piece of code got executed multiple times, that is 10 times, until this particular condition became false. Okay, now guys let's write some let's experiment some programs, guys. Okay, rather than going with printing my name 10 times, let's try to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, let's try to print the numbers from 1 to 10 using the while loop. For that I'll say int I, sorry, not int, guys, it's Java. If you say int, it's Java. So let's come back to JavaScript where I is equal to 1. Okay, initially I'm assigning the variable I with 1 value, and here I'm writing the while loop. Here inside the while loop condition, I'm providing a value saying I less than or equal to 10 because I want to print the numbers from starting from 1 to 10. So I'm giving less than or equal to 10 because till 10 I want the numbers to be printed. Now inside this while loop, guys, this is the body of the while loop. Inside this while loop, I'll write console dot log of. Okay, I'll simply print I. Okay, I'll simply print the variable I, guys, nothing much. When I print the variable I, guys, what's happening here? Initially I is equal to 1. 1 is less than or equal to 10. True. 1 will be printed. Here, guys, 1 will be printed. As explained just now, for every iteration, we have to increment or do some changes to the variable I so that the condition has to fail at some point of time. Otherwise, we'll be inside the while loop and the while loop will be iterating infinite times. Okay, that will be a problem. So we have to say I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, this is a basic rule. Or guys, there is some other way, guys. Okay, you can actually write this statement in a different way also. Instead of writing I is equal to I plus 1, which will definitely increment the value of I by 1 for every iteration, there is a better way where you can say I plus is equal to 1. This is also same. This is a shortcut for I is equal to I plus 1, right? If you remember. Okay, this is an assignment operator we have used. I plus is equal to 1 is the full form of this. I is equal to I plus is equal to 1 is nothing but I is equal to I plus 1. This is same. both are same. Or there's another way guys where you can simply say I plus plus, okay, post increment operator. Okay, the value of I will be incremented by 1 for every iteration after this statement. Okay, so this is very simple. Okay, so people prefer to use this kind of thing guys. Instead of writing I is equal to I plus 1 or I plus is equal to 1, they simply write I plus plus. Okay, this is a better way of writing where the value of I will be incremented by 1 every time this particular statement occurs. So guys, after I got printed for the first time, that is 1, here I got incremented to 2. Again, the condition will be checked, 2 less than or equal to 10. Here 2 will be printed. Then I will become 3. Condition will be true. 3 will be printed. So on 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And finally, here I becomes 10 guys. 10 less than or equal to 10 is still true. So 10 will be printed here. And here I becomes 11. 11 less than or equal to 10 is false. When the condition becomes false, we'll come out of the while loop. So by this time, already the numbers starting from 1 to 10 got printed anyhow. Okay, but let's run this using this node.js. Let's run this JavaScript code using the node.js. So here I'll simply say node space demo.js. You see 1 to 10 got printed. Simple. Okay. Now guys, I don't want to print the numbers from 1 to 10. Rather, I want to print the numbers from 10 to 1. I want to reverse the order. Okay. First, I want to print 10, then 9, then 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 to 1. Like that, I want to print. I don't want to print in ascending order. I want to print the same values in descending order. So further, guys, what I will do is I'll just change this program a bit where I'll change the value of I initial assigned value. I'll change from 1 to 10. Okay. So initially, I'm assigning the I with value 10. Okay. Here, I'll change the condition also, guys, to suffice that I till the I is greater than 0. You have to iterate this loop. Okay. Initial value of I is 10 until I is 1. Okay. If I is not is still I is greater than 0. Okay. Till I is greater than 0, you have to iterate. But the moment when the I becomes 0, will come out of the while loop. Simple terms. Okay. Now we are printing I anyhow. Okay. So I'll remove this statement, guys. I plus plus I will remove. So in the initial iteration, guys, what happens is I is 10. 10 greater than 0 is true. 10 greater than 0 is true. So the condition is true. So here we'll be printing 10. Okay. If I print I, 10 will be printed. Okay. In the next iteration, if I don't write any statement here in the next iteration, again I will be 10. 10 will be greater than 0. Again 10 will be printed. So to avoid this kind of infinite problem, again what I'm going to do is I'm going to say I minus minus, guys. Okay. I am going to decrement the value of I by 1. For every iteration, the value of I will be decremented by 1. So after the first iteration, okay, in the first iteration when 10 got printed here, when I minus minus got executed, the value of I will become 9 here. Okay, 9 is still greater than 10, 0. 9 is still greater than 0. Again, we'll go inside the while loop and here 9 will be printed. Again, here I will become 8. 8 greater than 0, 8 will be printed. Then I will become 7. It will go on, guys. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Finally, when I became 1, 1 is still greater than 0. 1 will be printed. Now I become 0 here, 1 minus 1, 0. And 0 is greater than 0 is false. And that's where we will come out of the while loop. So we are printing the values from 10 to 1. Okay, here we are decrementing the variable I because we started with 10, guys. Okay, let's run this code to see whether it is working fine or not. It will definitely work fine though. I'll simply type node demo.js. You see the values got printed from 10 to 1 in the reverse order. Okay, guys. Now, guys, we can do a lot of things with this while loop, guys. Okay, a lot of things we can do with this while loop. Like we can write some if statements inside the while loop also. That is also possible. Let's say, guys, you want to only print even numbers. Let's say, okay, you want to only print even numbers. Okay, you don't want to when you are printing the numbers from 10 to 1, you don't want to print the odd numbers, you want to print the even numbers. Further, guys, you can surround this console.log with if statement saying if, okay, if, 1 minute, let me remove this. Okay, I'll simply write the if statement first, guys. If I percentile 2 is equal to 0, okay, okay, if I percentile 2 is equal to 0, then only print this I, otherwise don't print the I, okay. If I percentile, so inside the while loop, I am writing an if statement. Okay, this is one way, guys. Okay, this is one way of printing the even numbers. Okay, so starting from 10 to 1, whatever the even numbers, only even numbers should be printed. Let's say, okay, you don't have to print 10, 9, 8 like that. Instead, 10, 8, 6, okay, 4, 2, kind of thing should be printed. Okay, so further guys, you just put a condition around this. If I percentile 2 is equal to 0, then only print it. Okay, that means in the initial iteration guys, when I is 10, 10 greater than 0 is true, the condition is true, we'll go inside the while loop. Inside the while loop we have if statement anyhow, and here 10 percentile 2, yes, reminder is coming as 0. That's correct, because 2 5 are 10, so reminder will be 0. So the condition is true, so we'll print 10 here. Okay, 10 will be printed guys. Then I got decremented by 1, that is 10 will become 9. So 9 greater than 0 is still true, but 9 percentile 2 will give the remainder as 1. So this is not matching. So it will not be printed. Okay, I will not be printed in this case. Now I will become 8. 8 greater than 0 is true. 8 percentile 2, 2 for the 8, 0 is a remainder. Now the condition is matching. So we'll go inside and print 8. Like this guys, only even numbers will be printed from 10 to that range. Okay. Now let's run this guys. Let's run this code to see whether only the even numbers are getting printed or not. I'll simply say node demo.js, and you see 10 8 6 4. You see only the even numbers got printed. 10 8 6 4 2 got printed. Okay, 10 8 6 4 2. Okay, like this guys, you can modify the logic guys to get whatever you want, but ultimately this is a while loop guys, which will iterate this set or block of code which is there inside the while body until this condition is true. Until this condition is true, this block of code will be executed. Fine, in simple terms. And what else? Yeah, okay guys, and it's not compulsory that you have to give decrement or increment this value of I by 1, or you can even increment by 2, decrement by 2, up to you guys. Okay, if you don't want to use this logic for printing the values, okay, printing the even numbers from 10 to 1, whatever the even numbers in the range of 10 to 1, you can follow another process guys. Initially you will print 10 anyhow, but you will say I minus is equal to 2. Okay, so what happens guys? First 10 will be printed here. After that you are decrementing the value of I by 2. That means 10 minus 2 is 8. So 8 greater than 0 true. 8 will be printed. After 10, 8 is getting printed. Minus 2, 6 will be printed. Okay. Then 6 minus 2, 4. 4 greater than 0, 4 will be printed. Like this also it's possible guys. Okay. You can define your own logic. Okay. The way you want to print the even numbers, you can decide. Okay. It's up to you. Either you can go with the first way where you can put an if statement inside the while loop, or you can decrement the value of I by 2. Any of this logic will give you the same result where you are printing the even numbers. Okay, this is the while loop guys, simple terms. Hope guys you got some confidence in how to write the while loop now. Now let's go with the next iterative statement or looping statement, that is do while loop. Okay, so there's small difference between the while loop and do while loop, but first let's run the do while loop. After that I'll explain the difference between the while loop and do while loop. Okay, how to create the do while loop? Similar to while loop guys, we have to create a variable here, int I is equal to 1. Let's say, sorry, again I am writing in where I is equal to 1. In JavaScript you cannot specify and declare any particular variable with the data type. That's in Java it's possible guys. In Java you can provide int, but in JavaScript you cannot provide that. Okay, int is not recognized in JavaScript. You have to provide where, though the JavaScript looks almost similar to Java, but it's not same guys, so be aware of that. Okay, you have to declare the variable I with where. Okay, after that we'll write the do while loop. Do while loop, the syntax will be like this guys. Okay, do, here the condition will be at the end guys. Okay, the do keyword will be at the beginning of this do while loop. Do while loop body, this is at the end, you will have the while loop. Okay, while condition will be there. You can put a semicolon if you want, and here just say I less than or equal to 10. Okay, so whatever the program I am trying to demonstrate now guys, you will not see any difference between the while loop and do while loop. Okay, because the program is like that. Okay, so if I print console dot log of, I'll print I guys, I'll simply print I, and I'll say I plus plus. Okay, so you'll get the same values guys. Okay, the values from 1 to 10 will be printed with this do while loop also. But what is the difference between while and do while? I'll come to that later. Okay, so let's see how this do while loop is working. I is equal to 1. Initially I is equal to 1. Here any condition is there to enter into the do while loop? There is no condition here. So we'll directly enter into the do while loop. But in while loop, for the first time also, okay, we have to check the condition. If the condition is satisfying only, we'll enter into the while loop. But in do while loop, it's not like that guys. Okay, for the first iteration, the condition will not be checked because the condition is not there at the beginning of the do while do while loop. The condition in the do while loop is at the end. So it's like no one is stopping at you at the security gate kind of. Okay, so in the case of do while loop, no one is stopping you at the security gate. Okay, in the beginning. Okay, so I is equal to 1, but while you are exiting, things will be checked. Okay, but in while loop, when you are entering into the while block only, a security check will be there, a condition will be verified. But in do while loop, no checking is done in the beginning, but checking is done at the end. Okay, kind of difference. I is equal to 1, here no condition is checked, so we'll directly go inside the do while loop. Okay, we'll directly go inside the do while loop, and here I will be printed as it is. Okay, first I 1 will be printed, guys. 1 will be straightforward printed, and I will become 2, guys. Okay, here I will become 2, incremented by 1, so I will become 2, and 2 less than or equal to 10. True or false? It's true. Again, the loop will be iterated where 2 will be printed. Here I will become 3. 3 is also true. Then I will become 4. I will become 5, 6, 7, then 8, then 9. Finally, when I becomes 10, 10 is less than or equal to 10 is still true. Again, we'll go inside the do while loop, and 10 will also be printed. And when I becomes 11, 11 less than or equal to 10 is false, so we'll come out of the do while loop. But same output you will get, guys. Only the difference is here the condition is not checked in the beginning, but in do while loop the condition is checked at the end. Okay, that's the basic difference between the while loop and do while loop. Anyhow, let me run this code to see that we are getting the same output, that is 1 to 10 will be printed. You see 1 to 10 got printed, that's fine. But to give the difference, guys, okay, for example, if the value of I is not 1, okay, let's the value of I is straightforwardly 15. In this case, guys, in this case, what will happen with do while loop? What will happen with the do while loop if the I is 15? Straightforward. So here I is 15, guys. So still there is no condition being checked here. So console.log of I, here 15 will be already printed, okay, because there is no security check or condition done at the beginning of the do while loop. I will be printed as it is, that is 15 will be printed. I will become 16 now. 16 is less than or equal to 10 is false, so will come out of the while loop. But 15 is already printed because of this do while loop, guys. Let's run this. You see, if I run this code, guys, you will see that 15 will be printed in the output. Okay, you see 15 got printed. But let me change this to while loop. Okay, you'll see the difference. Okay, same example. Okay, I'm just moving this while condition to the beginning, guys. Okay, I'll just moving this while condition to the beginning, while, okay, like this. In this case, will 15 will be printed. In case of do while loop, even though I was 15, you entered into the do while loop, and 15 got printed in the output like this. But in case of while loop, will 15 will be printed. You see, here I is 15, 15 less than or equal to 10. The condition is being checked in the beginning of the loop itself. Before we enter into the loop only, the condition is being checked by the while loop. Hence, will not enter into the while loop, and nothing will be printed, guys. Hope, guys, at least once do while loop will be executed. But while loop, if condition is false for the first time, do while loop will be executed at least once. But if the condition is false for the first time, while loop will not be executed even once. Okay, that's the difference. That's the main difference between the while loop and do while loop, guys. Do while loop will iterate at least once, despite of being the condition being false, because the condition is being checked at the end of the loop. But coming to the while loop, the condition is checked at the beginning of the loop. Hence, if the condition is false for the first time, the loop will not execute even once. Okay, that's the difference, guys. That's the difference between the while loop and do while loop. You see, nothing got printed in the output because the condition is checked in the beginning, and the condition is has become false, and the while loop has not iterated or looped even once. Okay, that's the difference between the while loop and do while loop, guys. Nothing much. Now the other one is for loop, guys. Okay, the other one is the for loop, guys. Okay, so here I'll just go back. This is a code for the while loop, right? But what is the difference between the while loop and for loop here? Okay, in terms of the syntax, what is the difference between the while loop and for loop? Here, guys, if you clearly observe, there are three things happening in this while loop already. Here, what is happening in this statement is in declaration and initialization is happening here. Okay, declaration and initialization. Okay, simply we can call this as initialization for now. Declaration and initialization is happening here, and at this statement, the condition is there. Okay, at this statement, condition is checked in the while loop, and here in this statement, guys, in this statement, okay, incrementing or decrementing is done. Okay, incrementation or decrementation of this variable is done. Okay, incrementing or decrementing is done in this statement. Three things are happening at three different location in case of the while loop. But in case of for loop, guys, okay, in case I'll convert this while loop into for loop, guys, where declaration, initialization, condition, and incrementation, decrementation will happen in a single line in for loop, guys. That's the main difference between the while loop and for loop. If you write a for loop, guys, okay, if you write a for loop, you see, I'll just take one on one. So here I'll say where I is equal to 15. I'll change it to 1, guys. Okay, just to make it work, guys, I have to change it to 1, right? So it will print numbers from 1 to 10. Okay, so I'll just change, I'll copy this, guys. Okay, I'll copy this statement, and I'll just remove this statement as it is and paste it here. Okay, initialization part came here. Now here second part. What is the second part? Second part is the condition part. Okay, I'm just taking out the condition part from here and pasting it here. I'll put a semicolon, and now third section will come where the incrementation and decrementation will happen. Here you don't have to put any semicolon at the end. Sorry. Let me go back. Put a semicolon here. Just take this out, and here put the last one. Okay. Here this is the declaration and initialization. Second thing is the condition. Third thing is the incrementation or decrementation, and this is the beginning of the for loop and it's the ending of the for loop. Just remove the while loop now. Okay, you see this simple the for loop is. Okay, this much simple the for loop is. In case of while loop, you have to declare and initialize a variable somewhere outside the while loop, and in the beginning of the while loop you have to put a condition like this, and inside the while loop you have to provide the incrementation or decrementation. Most probably a lot of people will forget this incrementation decrementation in the while loop. Okay, but coming to the for loop, there is no way of forgetting, guys, because we know that there are three sections here. We'll declare and initialize here in the first section. Second section we'll put the condition, and here third section will increment or decrement. Okay, so that's how the for loop is reduce the number. For loop will reduce the number of lines, and at the same time it will simplify the process, and you will not forget the incrementation decrementation also. Those are some advantages of the for loop. Anyhow, if I say simply say the same statement, I'll write as console.log of I. Okay, no difference. This simple thing will print the numbers from 1 to 10, guys. Okay, this simple code, 3 lines of code will print the numbers from 1 to 10. In case of while loop, you have to write like five lines of code, but in case of for loop, just 3 lines is enough, because you are moving the declaration, initialization, condition, and incrementation or decrementation into a single line in for loop. Okay, that's the only difference, guys. Okay, now guys, how this for loop will get executed? Okay, how the for loop will get executed? So I'll do one thing. I'll just take a screenshot of this, guys. Intentionally, I'm zooming it out. Okay, so intentionally I'm zooming this for loop, guys. I'll just zoom out again. Let me take the screenshot of this first, so that I can explain. Okay, okay, guys, so this is a for loop, guys. Okay, this is a for loop. Let me draw this. Okay, just see here, guys, what's happening. Just see here. So when you are executing the for loop, how the execution will happen? Okay, when you are executing the for loop, how the execution will happen? First thing is that, guys. Okay, first thing is execution will start from the this part. Okay, when the for loop is getting executed, this is the first point, guys. Okay, this is the first thing that will happen, where the variable will be declared and will be initialized. Okay, this is the first one. Okay, this is number one. This is number, otherwise I'll just remove this. It's the number one. Okay, first activity. After this, what will happen? Second one will be this one. Okay, condition will be checked. First, variable will be declared and initialized, and second thing is, this is the second thing. Okay, the condition will be checked. The condition will be checked. So here I is declared and initialized with 1. So 1 is less than or equal to 10 is true, right? True, right? So once this condition is true, we'll go inside the for loop. Okay, we'll go inside the for loop. This is number 3 now. Okay, this is number 3 now. Now once the for loop got executed, that means the value of I got printed. That is 1 will be printed in the output. After that, immediately the control will go to I plus plus. Okay, the control will go back to I plus plus. Okay, this increment decrement part it will go, and this is like 4, you can say, right? This one you can say as 4. Okay, this is 4. Now I plus plus will happen. So I was 1, now I will become 2. Again from here, the control will go to the condition directly. Okay, the control will go to the condition directly, and this is 5, guys. Okay, this is 5. This is 5. Okay, so here 2 is less than or equal to 10. True again. So we'll go inside and 2 will be printed. Then again, this same repetition will happen, guys. Okay, between the iteration and incrementation, decrementation, and condition. Only these two things will be checked repeatedly. Okay, so let me go back clearly. Go back. Okay, so let's revise whatever I explained just now. So first thing is that, guys. First thing is we'll start from here, guys. Okay, okay. This is the first point. Number 1. Okay, I will be declared and initialized. After that, we'll jump here. Condition will be checked. This is the second one. After the condition got checked, if the condition becomes true, we'll go inside the for loop, and value of I got printed anyhow. 1 will be printed, and here will come here at the end of the for loop, and from here directly we'll jump to the incrementation decrementation part. Okay, we'll directly jump to the incrementation decrementation part, and this will come as 3 here. Okay, the 3 you can consider it as a third step, first step, second step, and after the for loop got executed, increment and decrementation is the third step. Okay, now from here again, after incrementation, we'll go to this condition. Okay, this is the fourth step. Okay, this is the fourth step. Okay, this is the fourth step. So 2 is less than or equal to 10. Again 2 will be printed. Condition is 2. 2 will be printed. At the end of the for loop, again we'll go to incrementation. I will become 3. Condition will be checked. 3 less than or equal to 10. Again true. 3 will be printed. Again we'll go at the end of the for loop. We will go to the increment decrementation. I will become 4. 4 less than or equal to 10. This keeps on repeating between the incrementation and condition, guys. Okay. Only in the first step we'll declare and initialize. After that we'll not go back to this. Okay. This step is only performed in the beginning, guys. After that the things will happen between the condition and iteration. Okay, condition, loop and iteration, condition, loop and iteration, like that, guys. Okay, hope you are able to understand how the for loop works in real time. Okay, okay, this will happen only for one time during the starting. During the start, this declaration and initialization happens. After that the control will go to condition. From the condition the iteration will happen like this, guys. The flow will be like this. Okay, incrementation, decrementation, incrementation, condition, condition to the for loop. The condition is satisfied, again for loop. Again the same cycle will be iterated. Okay, from iteration, again iteration to condition. Okay, this keeps on going until the condition becomes false. Until this particular condition becomes false, the for loop will get iterated, guys. Hope you are able to understand how the for loop works now. Now let me zoom out. Go back to the original state. Yeah, this is the original state. Fine, guys. Now see, guys, now you understood, right? First this declaration and initialization will happen. After that the condition will be checked. After that we'll go inside the for loop if the condition is true, and then after the for loop got executed, then incrementation or decrementation. After that again condition. After that for loop, and after that incrementation, decrementation, again condition. It keeps on going until the condition becomes false. So let's see how this particular example is working. So initially we are declaring the variable I and assigning it or initializing it with value 1. So I is 1, guys. So after this I became 1. Now I 1 less than or equal to 10 is true. And since the condition is true, we'll go inside the for loop and we'll print 1 here. 1 will be printed. Then from here, after the end of the for loop, we'll directly jump to the incrementation decrementation part where I plus plus I will become 2. From here, incrementation decrementation, we jump to the condition. 2 less than or equal to 10 is again true. Since it is true, we'll go inside the for loop and here we'll print 2 here. Here we'll print 2. Then at the end of the for loop, again incrementation decrementation 3, 3 less than, like that it will keep on going as 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Now finally I becomes 10 and 10 less than or equal to 10 is true, and 10 will be printed here. Again I will become 11 here. 11 less than or equal to 10 is false. Then we'll come out to the for loop. Okay, this is how we have to use the for loop, guys. Okay, this is how the for loop works. Let's run the for loop, guys. Let's run the for loop to see whether it is printing the values from 1 to 10 or not. So simply say node demo.js. You see the numbers from 1 to 10 got printed. And if you want to use the for loop to print the numbers from 10 to 1, so you have to change few things, guys. So you have to declare this variable I and initialize with I with 10. And here you have to change the condition to I greater than 0. And here you have to say I minus minus. Okay. So it will print from 10 to 1, guys. Okay, simple. Initially I is 10. 10 is greater than 0 is true. So 10 will be printed. Then I minus minus 10 will become 9. 10 will become 9. I will become 9. Then 9 greater than 0 is true. 9 will be printed after 10. It keeps on going until, okay, till I is equal to 1, it will be printed. When I becomes 0, 0 less than 0 greater than 0 is false, and will come out of the for loop. Okay, so let's run this code, guys. Let's run this code. I'll say clear and say node demo.js. You see 10 to 1 will be printed. Okay, you can same way, guys. While loop, do while loop, for loop. For loop is the simplest form, right? Most of the people use for loop, guys. Okay, or if it is possible to decide which loop we have to use, like while loop or do while loop or for loop, most of the people use for loop. And if in case only while loop is required, then only they will not use for loop, but then they will go to while loop. But most of the cases, a lot of people use for loop, okay, for iteration or looping purpose. Out of all the 3 loops, there is a possibility where you can use either while loop or do while loop or for loop for the same thing. It's possible. Then in that case, people prefer for loop, okay, over while and do while loop. That's what. But coming to the for in and for off, guys, I'll be demonstrating these things or explaining and practically showing you how to use for in and for off after I explain the topics like arrays and objects in the series. Okay. For now, we are done with the looping statements as part of the control flow statements in JavaScript. So, so hope, guys, you understood all the different looping statements or iterative statements available in JavaScript and how to use them. Okay, effectively. Fine. Now, in the next session, guys, we'll move on to the next type of control flow statements, that is jump statements in JavaScript. Okay, there are 2 jump statements, break and continue. I'll demonstrate them in the next session. Fine. I will demonstrate this break and continue jump statements in the next session. For now, we are done with the looping statements in this session. So that's it, guys. See you in the next video session. Thank you. Bye.